Today we're going to do a little more in Canva, designing our stamp series or our social media graphics series, whatever you want to call it. And I am working in the Canva desktop app today. You'll see I have the little icon down here, and you'll notice that it looks pretty much exactly like the browser version. So you don't have to use the desktop app. I've just found in my experience that desktop apps can be a little more stable, especially the longer you're working in them and the more complex things you do. But it's totally up to you. So we're going to create a design, and we're going to go down here to custom size and choose 1080 by 1080 pixels. That is a standard Instagram post. It's also, roughly stamp sized, so we'll go with it. And I'm going to click on create new design. All right, that's going to give me, it's going to open up my workspace, and it's going to give me one square. I want 4 different stamps in my series. So I'm just going to click add page, and then add page again, and then add page again. So I have 4 pages here, okay? And you can name them if you want to. Whenever you choose the culture, the country that you want to focus on, and then what the different aspects of that culture are, you could name this one. Like, for example, just as an example, I'm going to do Mexican culture, and we're going to do Dia de los Muertos. I hope I spelled that right, which is the Day of the Dead. Just as an example. So if I was using Mexican culture, I might have one that's about the food, one that's about the holidays, like the Day of the Dead, or then maybe one about the landscape, or whatever sorts of things have been integrated into American culture. This kind of melting pot is a good way to start. So, I have all these templates over here. I'm not going to worry about that. I want to go and find some imagery. I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do that. So I'm going to start out with elements, all right? And I have some lines and objects. I'm going to come down here to photos, and let's just search and see what we get. Day of the Dead. Oh, here we go. All right, so I got some interesting things, and I was thinking of these kind of colorful skulls in my head. So I'm gonna grab this guy, and I just click on it, and it places it in my workspace. Now, what I can do is I can resize. I can click and drag to resize. If you want to crop an image, you select crop, and then you can actually crop it that way, but in this case, I don't think I need to do that. So I'm going to cancel out of that. And I'm just going to drag to make this fill my page. Okay, and now if you want to flip things, you can also flip horizontal that way, okay, or vertical. And that looks pretty good. All right, so then when I select my image, you'll see I have edit image here. I can adjust some colors. Well, that's not right. That's not what I want to do at all. When I select edit image, you'll see I have a bunch of filters. I can adjust the brightness, contrast, saturation, and you'll see it in real time what it does, okay? We have a lot of different filters that you might think of as Instagram filters, where you can get some different color casts. So you can play around with that. You can go back, and with each of those, you can adjust the intensity, all right, how bright it is. So that's kind of fun. Auto enhance, you can play around with all of these. I really like the duotone effects. Those are kind of interesting to me, and it allows me to create a very intentional color palette across my different stamps. So I'm gonna try these and see what strikes my fancy. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. I'm gonna start with this one. Okay, I'm gonna apply that. Now you have a lot of other really interesting things, these letter mosaics and paint effects and color mixes, and you can do some really trippy effects and pixelation. So I encourage you to play around with all of these and see what suits your design style. So this is a nice background to get started with, all right? Then I want to have text on each of my stamps that says what it is that I am celebrating. So I'm going to click text. And I would advise starting with these and then adding your own effects rather than going down here and choosing stuff that's already made. So I'm going to grab heading, And I'm going to say Mexico. And then I'll do a subheading. And we're going to say Dia de los Muertos. All right. So now I can adjust the font, and I can select both of these by holding down Shift if I want to do both. And I can go down here and choose my typefaces. All right. So you can add fonts if you have specific ones you want to use. I'm just going to look through here and find something that kind of goes along with my my theme. That's kind of interesting. I'll go with that for now. I want to try some different colors. And so you can choose colors from your photo, which is nice if you want to create some harmony, but that also creates some contrast issues. You can choose your own color, and you get this spectrum tool where you can just kind of click and drag. These hexadecimal values are web colors, and there are some different resources for choosing color palettes that I'll show you, where you can just type in hexadecimal values if you have specific colors you want to use. In this case, I think I want kind of a greenish yellow. It stands out a little bit. That looks pretty good to me. All right. And then I want to resize kind of these individually. So I'm going to make that large, and let's rotate it. All right, so I'll grab this icon down here and rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, maybe move that there. And then we'll rotate this 90 degrees as well. I don't know if I want the same font, but I think I'll leave it like that for now. And I could change the color with that a little bit if I wanted to, make it a little darker, or maybe white. That's not bad. Maybe you can even overlap it a little bit. So I don't know. I'll play around with this. This is just an example. Now you do have some effects you can apply, and you can also remember you can do all sorts of different formatting features up here. You can adjust letter spacing, line spacing, choose where the text box is anchored, all that kind of stuff. For the effects, I'm just going to try a few things, see what the shadow looks like. That's not bad. And you have all of these settings with each effect. Echo, glitch, neon. I kind of like that. And then the intensity. You can also choose if you want it on a curve and how much of a curve. So really a lot of flexibility here, okay? I think I'm gonna leave, I think I like that. So I think I'm gonna leave it like that. Now this one I might, maybe a slight drop shadow like that. Okay, just to give it a little contrast. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's a great start. And you know, it saves automatically, so you don't really have to worry about that. But if you want to check, you can always go to appear to file and save, and you'll see all changes have been saved. So I would continue adding this. Now you can also adjust opacity, like if you want to blend some images or add another image. I could go back to my elements and search for, I don't know, let's just search for a skull. That's not really what I wanted. You know, maybe if I wanted to include the colors of the Mexican flag, the green, white, and red, I could do that. But you could, for example, go back here and just get a shape, and it'll automatically add it over here, and you can resize it, change the color. If I wanted to do that, and I don't think I'm going to, but just to show you. You can adjust the transparency to let some of those colors come through. So you have a lot of options to kind of get things looking the way you want it to, all right? And if you want to find your own imagery, you can upload your image here. You can upload your own imagery. Go right here, and you can go to one of those. There's several free stock photography sites that I've listed in Blackboard. under the graphic design resources in that folder at the bottom of the main page. So you can experiment with that if you don't find what you're looking for here, because some of the images are, you'll see this little crown, that's the pro version, and you won't have access to those. So if you can't find what you're looking for in the free version here, I encourage you to try Unsplash or Pexels or one of those other free stock photography sites. If you decide you would like to use some help in developing a color palette, I will give you one example, and I can't remember if I put this in the resources or not, but there is a website called coolors.co that allows you to create your own color palettes, and it's a really kind of interesting, fun thing just to give you some inspiration. Now, you can always choose your own color palettes directly from within Canva, but if you want some help, you can go to this website, and it's going to automatically give you a color palette, and you just hit the space bar and it'll give you a new one. You hit the space bar, and if, for example, you see a color that you like and you're like, oh, I like this one but I don't like these, you can lock it and then hit space bar, and it'll start giving you other color combinations, keeping the one that you have locked. And if you say, all right, well, I like this one, you can lock that one, and it'll keep those two, and you can keep going until you get a color palette that you really like. And then these are the hexadecimal codes, right? So D36582. If I go back over here and I go to color, I want to enter my own color, I go type in right here D36, whoops. 36582. There it is. That's the exact same color. All right. So that's another way if you want to experiment with some color schemes. But you'll do one of these, and then you'll move on to the next one and choose the next aspect of that culture, whatever it's going to be. It could be, maybe it's soccer, or maybe it's something about the food or the